I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to VHS Doom, the VHS Doom podcast and rental store. Not really. We wish we had a store. We hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and we really enjoyed our break last week. We hope you guys enjoyed snoopers on our break, but we had a really good time just hanging out, shooting the shit. I'm here today with my lovely co-host, Mikey. What's your name now, Mikey?
On which one? On
Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah. I think it's Mikey Mutant again.
Is it Mikey Mutant again?
Let's see.
Is it like Mikey Mutant X?
No, that's the name. My @ is Mikey Misfit 138.
Okay, all right, Mikey Misfit. So that's your new.
I went back to my MySpace name.
Nice. Okay, taking it way back. All right.
Katie
Put me in your MySpace, in your top 8. Do you remember that song?
I think so, yeah.
Put me on your MySpace, on your top 8. I do remember something like that.
Was that like the Millionaires or like one of those other Scene Kid bands?
Yeah, likely. Yeah. Probably.
Or like Hollywood Undead.
Do you remember like coding your MySpace page where you put music?
The funny thing you say that is my grandmother, for some odd reason, saw me do that in like 2007 or 8, and she thinks that like I should work in IT now. I'm not even joking. Every time, because my uncle works in IT. Well, he used to. Now he's in HR, but like he used to work in IT, and like she's like, "Oh, you should do what he does." I'm like, "No, I'm okay."
Hey, I mean, you know what? I feel like MySpace probably taught some kids like the basic intro to coding, like HTML at least or whatever, right? Because you had to figure out how to code that stuff into your page.
Yeah, but the playlist one was hard, though.
It was hard to get a playlist. That's so funny.
I used to have multiple, you know the band Him?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I had multiple fan pages on MySpace of them, and every time their music would get like me taken down.
Oh, yeah? Would it?
Yeah, I was a big fan of that band back in the day.
Yeah. What was it? Let's see. Hold on. I think it was like... Is that right? Hold on. I can't remember the heartogram. Hold on.
You don't remember what the heartogram looks like?
No, I do, but I can't fucking draw it. Oh, my God. It's like... Dude. Nah, I can't. I was going to draw it and put it on camera. Look how shitty that is.
I can't even see it.
Dude. Garbage. I can't draw. But yeah, I remember the heartogram. What a good time in life. That's before so much sadness in like Bam Margera's life happened.
Yeah.
You know?
For him and that band, because Vilval had a drug addiction for a while too.
Oh, yeah.
Or was it alcohol? I can't remember.
Bam's in a rough place now. I think
scary.
He got kicked out of the last Jackass film because he couldn't stay sober, and that was
they didn't want to deal with him anymore.
Then he took him to court, and I don't know how that ended up, but he was suing the company, I guess, or Johnny Knoxville or whoever.
Probably like Tremaine and Knoxville.
Yeah, because he was removed from the film. So anyway, rough. That's. I hope he figures it out. I really do.
I hope he gets sober.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's kind of dark. But how was your week, man?
It was
dark.
No, it was okay. I mean,
yeah,
could be better. But like, I watched a bunch of movies this week.
Did you?
Yeah, including the ones we watched also. But I watched 3.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to go into it, or did you want?
Yeah, go for it. Whatever.
Because I was going to ask you how your week was going too, but
yeah, well, I'll you tell me about the movies, and I'll talk about my week and what I watched.
Okay. All right. So the first one was Phantasm, the original one from 1979. The plot is a kid goes to a cemetery, and then he sees some weird stuff, and he's being chased by these little things and a man known as a tall man. And crazy stuff happens.
Okay. Nice. Very cool. Gotta love Phantasm. Now, so pretty sure Phantasm was restored by J.J. Abrams.
Yes,
right?
because he's a giant fan.
Right. Yeah, I did hear
He
that.
he ended up in what was which one was the first one in the new trilogy?
Oh, I have
forgot.
no clue.
So there's a character, Lord Phasma, and it's named after this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the new Star Wars trilogy.
Oh,
Force Awakens,
like,
I think it was.
What has he done with a new Phantasm trilogy? Okay, got you. So in the new Star Wars trilogy, he named someone.
I think it's in Force Awakens. There's a character called Phasma.
Oh, Phasma. Okay. Gotcha. Neat.
Yeah, I'm not really big into the newer Star Wars movies. I haven't even watched them, honestly. I think I watched Force Awakens in theaters and then I liked it, but I just didn't watch any more of them because I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so I've watched the first two, I think, but I haven't watched the last one. But so I went with Carla to see The Force Awakens in the theater. We actually went to. It's when I still lived up in Jersey. We went to the Palisades Mall, I think.
Oh, I love that theater.
To that movie theater, and we saw it there. And we were both working like dogs at the time. But so spoiler alert: if you haven't watched The Force Awakens, when Ben shoots his father, or
when Han Solo dies.
Yeah, whatever.
I think he stabs him, right?
Yeah, he stabs him.
It's been so long since I've seen these movies, honestly.
I can't remember if he shoots him or stabs him. I assume stab. I don't know. Whatever.
I thought he put the lightsaber through him.
Yeah, that would make sense, right? Yeah, it would. So, anyway, I was like, oh my God, wild. And then we're in the car on the way home, and I was like, man, I can't believe Han Solo died. And Carla goes, what? And I was like, did we not just see the same movie? And she's like, okay, I definitely fell asleep like halfway through. I was like, oh man, come on. So I don't think she's ever finished watching that movie. But they make those theater chairs so comfortable. You know, you can lay it all the way.
I want
back.
one of those. We need a new couch. I want one of those.
Holy shit, for real. That you could lay it like so far back. They're just so comfy. You got your nice little soda, you got some popcorn. Man, it's the way to live right there. Okay, cool. Well, so you saw Phantasm. What else?
Okay, so I saw Phantasm. I saw a hilarious movie yesterday. I got from Vinegar Syndrome, a Blu-ray of it. This really weird slasher from like 1989 called Memorial Valley Massacre. It's also called Memorial Day. Mm-hmm. And I'll just read the plot. A newly opened campsite is terrorized by a primitive young man who begins killing campers to defend his territory. So it's like a national park they're on.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, like, all these, like, annoying-ass people are coming in. And, like, the quote-unquote primitive young man, or, like, caveman, I guess? I sent you pictures of it, like, the other day.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, this young guy who gets lost in the woods as a kid, he becomes a, like, caveman slasher, and it's like the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen.
The makeup's kind of cool. He kind of looks like Wolfman a little bit, or whatever.
It's
right?
pretty bad, actually.
It's pretty bad, but it's fun, Yeah.
And then lastly, I was just watching before we started the show, Ichi the Killer.
Oh,
one of the most crazy movies I've ever seen. I didn't remember half the stuff was in this movie. Like, I remember the first part where, like, he breaks into a house and kills a guy because he's, like, killing his, it was a pimp, and he killed him and somebody else, and then, like, it just goes, like, the ridiculous gore in this movie, dude.
That's awesome. It's, who's the director?
Takeshi Miike.
Miike, right, yeah.
Yeah, dude, there's some crazy kills and stuff, and, like, so, that guy kills somebody, and then it sets off this chain of events of this Yakuza is coming after her, trying to find him.
Uh-huh.
And the guy who's in charge, Kikihara, is like this weird like sadist who's like into like mutilation.
Okay.
So like you've seen the cover, like his face with like the things in it and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that, and There's a scene where like he has a guy like in like hooks, and he's pouring like cooking like oil on him.
Oh, okay.
Torturing him. And it's like crazy.
Wow. Yeah. No, I've never seen it. That and there's something else that you've talked about a bunch that I haven't seen that it's on my list. What's it called? Like Tumbling Doll of Flesh?
Oh my god, dude. That's another level of movie.
Yeah, that one I'm like scared to watch.
Okay, so that starts off as a director hiring somebody for a porn. It starts being like a normal porn you're watching. All of a sudden, you find out the director and the actors have a different plan. They're going to murder the actress in the movie and film them like mutilating her.
Yeah.
And it looks real. It's not real at all. It's not a snuff movie.
Right.
But it's made to look like one. There's a scene with a apple peeler and a tongue.
Oh God. Yep. You've talked about that before.
And like they slowly just start like dismembering her. And, oh God. It's like on the level of like the guinea pig movies.
Right. Yeah. For sure. Now the guinea pig movies were. Was it the first one that Charlie Sheen thought was real?
The second one.
Second one? He called the FBI about or something?
So Chris Gore from G4?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He showed him it like in a movie kind of thing, and like I guess he was like on drugs or something, and like the print was like really bad, and like he saw it, and like if you watch this movie, you can see it's not real.
Sure.
Because like there's multiple times where the samurai guy killing the girl who's tied to the bed, the arms start moving by themselves.
Okay.
After they're cut off and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah,
it's good though. I love those movies, but yeah.
There's one. So, have you seen the memes? It was maybe like a week ago that were going around because I guess there's this like feud between this new Barbie movie and like Oppenheimer.
Yeah. I've been seeing that.
So I saw, there were pictures of like Margot Robbie and the director of Barbie in front of a poster for Oppenheimer with their tickets, right?
Oh, and then I saw the meme with Salo.
Did you see the one with Salo?
Yeah.
So it's Margot Robbie and that director in front of Salo with their
Ramit
tickets
sent
on.
it to us. That's what it was. Okay. I started dying.
Made me laugh so hard. But I have, I've never watched that either.
I bought that movie from Barnes & Noble.
Did you? Barnes & Noble?
It's Criterion put it out.
Holy shit.
On Blu-ray.
Yeah.
It's one of the most fucked up like Nazi exploitation movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I know. I've been scared to watch that one too for some reason. I'm just like, oh god.
Cradle of Filth has a music video, Babylon AD, where they reenact the movie.
Yeah. Okay. I know I'm about to get just a ton of shit for this. Whatever, I don't care. Our customers here, hi customers, by the way. Sorry, we haven't acknowledged you. Hello.
I mean, I like a Serbian film, so I can't.
That's what I was going to say. I've never watched a Serbian film, so y'all can yell at me if you want, but I just can't bring myself to do it. I know what it's about.
There's another one that came out from that same time and same area, like Serbia, called Life and Death in a Porno Gang. I have the Blu-ray. I haven't seen it yet. I heard it's on that level of fucked.
Right.
But the thing about a Serbian film is it's really fucked up, and there's a lot of fucked up shit in it, but it's shot amazingly.
Right. That is what I've heard, for sure.
Like, there's a lot going into it that happened in Serbia that led up to the director making this.
Right.
Like, politically.
Yeah.
It's a wild movie.
No, I know it is. I know, I've pretty much know the plot. Like, I've heard so much about the film. And that's why I can't bring myself to watch it. You know what? Okay, so let me talk. One of the movies I watched this week was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which is literally a movie about Nick Cage playing Nick Cage in a scenario where he becomes an action star.
Oh, wait, it's that movie.
So
you were telling me about it the other day, and I didn't know what the title was.
Hilarious. But so I'm watching it. My dad came to visit. So let's rewind. I'll tell you about my week. My dad came to visit. We hung out. So we actually I watched some movies that are like, like we watched The Whale. That's one of mine. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. So we were watching some good films and hanging out and having a good time, whatever. But anyway, that was my week. That's like the most notable thing that happened. So in that movie with Nick Cage, they reference another movie twice. Paddington 2. Have you heard of Paddington the Bear 2?
I've seen the first one. Like
Right.
my son likes the cartoon and likes the book.
So twice in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, they reference Paddington 2
I know there was a Paddington
as being one of the best movies of all time. And I'm like, what? So my dad's sitting there next to me in the chair, and he's like, oh, yeah, I can't even bring myself to watch it. And I was like, what? Am I in like an alternate universe right now? And he said, no, go on Reddit, go on Twitter, look up Paddington 2, which I did, and people rave. They fucking rave about this movie. Like, it's like life-changing. It'll make you cry the entire time. There's like so much depth to it. It's like one of the best shot movies of all time. I'm like, so I was like, is there like a correlation between Paddington 1 and 2? And my dad's like, no, not really. They're kind of like their own stories. But my dad specifically said, I cannot bring myself to watch it because of all the hype. It's made me nervous to watch it. And I guess that's kind of how I feel about a Serbian film. So tying all that together. But if you haven't watched Paddington 2, I guess check it out and cry the whole time. I don't know.
You know what I don't think is as bad as people say, but the second one is?
Huh.
Human Centipede.
Okay. Yeah.
The second one is like the dude's jerking off with sandpaper and like I don't know. It's
Yeah.
The third one's a straight comedy. It's fucking funny as hell.
Yeah. Well, anyway, okay. Well, I just had to say all that. But jumping back into the movie, so we watched The Whale. So The Whale, 2022, Brendan Fraser, directed by Darren Aronofsky.
Oh, he's good. He did The Arrival and a few other good movies.
Yeah, so he it also starred Sadie Sink, who is from Stranger Things as well, but she plays his daughter. So you haven't watched Stranger Things?
I watched like the first 2 episodes. I didn't like it.
Holy shit, bro! Keep watching, man. Just get into it. It's
thing.
really good. It's really good. Just keep going. Like, push through a little bit of the boring, and it's like, oh fuck, it'll get you hooked. Anyway, so The Whale. If you haven't watched The Whale, Oscar-winning film, The Whale, it's about a very heavy-set man who's not taking care of himself, and he's in the very last stages of his life, and he's trying to make amends for some things that happen in his life. Wildly intense movie that's set in just the simplest setting possible, which is one apartment. We never ever leave the apartment in that film. So it made me, a couple films that I've watched, actually 2 films that I watched this week, made me feel like I really need to go finish my script on Brava, like do like a finalization and just make it, because it's like, it's not that hard to make a really good movie. You don't need to be overly complicated, right?
Yeah. I found the shirt. I was telling you the other day, I found the shirt for Brava.
Yeah, you did. Mine's a little tight now, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, me too.
That's okay.
We should reprint it.
We should reprint it. I should finish the script, dust off all the old material, and then reprint the shirts and put them up on the website. Yeah, so that was a really, obviously, Oscar winner. It's a really, really good film. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, highly, highly recommend. So that's 2022. It was directed by Tom Gormican, starring Nick Cage and Pedro Pascal. Hilarious film. Kept me laughing the entire time. Really, really good plot. And it transitions you from like real life into a story seamlessly. So that was a lot of fun.
Did Pedro play himself or no?
No, Pedro did not play himself.
No. He's cool. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he's a really cool actor. He did a great job in that film, though. He was really funny. And then lastly, this is like completely out of left field, completely different than the other 2 I watched. But Tubi just put out a title called Little Corey Gory. So it's a 1993 semi-slasher serial killer film directed by Bill Maroney. It was definitely from the straight-to-video era.
Yeah, I think it was shot on 16 millimeter.
Yeah, it was. It starred Todd Fortune, Pat Gallagher, and Brenda Pope. And essentially, the plot is Corey is like an abused kid whose parents died, who now lives with like an evil stepmother and stepbrother. Like, kind of got dumped with people that don't love him, and he accidentally falls into being a serial killer. Essentially, it's funny. The plot's kind of jolty. It's all over the place.
How does one fall into being a serial killer?
Accidentally cutting your stepbrother's arm off with a piece of glass, and then he dies.
What?
And then you realize killing these people ends your pain and your struggles.
Glass can break bone? Okay.
Watch the movie if you want to see how that happens. But yeah, no, it was okay. The only problems I had with the movie, it was very racist without a purpose. If that makes sense. So like American History X had like a very racist premise, but that was a part of the story. This movie has a lot of those same undertones without the resolution or a purpose. So they're just kind of mean to people for no reason. So that was a weird part of the plot for me. His stepbrother and stepmother are bad people, but it was unnecessary to go about the script like that. So that kind of caught me off guard. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it was a fun little goofy slasher. And, he does throw in some cannibal aspects into that movie too. So you get to see a little bit of everything. So anyway.
How are the effects in it?
They were okay. They were half decent for 1993. I mean, it was like I've seen better effects out of the 80s from big budget films for sure, but they weren't too bad. So chopping up arms, putting some body parts through meat grinders.
Sounds like a Saturday night.
What's that?
What?
It's like your Saturday night when you make stew.
Oh yeah.
Oh, see, I know what you're doing over there with your pressure cooker stew pot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I don't have nails in there, I'd put human in there.
Pulled human. Oh man, Mikey.
Oh, I had Chipotle recently, and I got barbacoa.
You're disgusting. You know what we're gonna make? Actually, tonight I think Carla's gonna make. Like vieja ropa, so like for enchiladas, she's gonna do like a pulled like steak.
So good.
Oh yeah, except for the fact that you've ruined that for me.
I love we make chicken enchiladas with the pressure cooker since we got it.
Nice. Yeah, you can't beat
good.
a pressure cooker, man. Especially when you're making long pig. Anyway, yeah. So that's
guys. I don't eat human. I've never have eaten human.
Human. Yeah, that's what Mikey says. But I mean, when you get possessed by Scabby Man, there's no telling what you've done, right?
Oh no, I spilled the monster all over the counter.
Oh, son of a bitch, Mikey. It's all over the cases, man. You know we have a lot of work here already. I don't know why you hate me. I don't know why I signed up for this job.
Keep you on your toes.
You know who I haven't heard from in a while? Hugh.
Janus?
Yeah, Hugh Janus.
I think Art killed him.
Art killed Hugh?
He's been gone since that episode, dude.
Oh, no fucking way. For real?
Same with, like, all the other management.
Right? What happened to... What was his boss's name?
Leon Labia?
Leon Labes. Right. Old Labes. Yeah, he hasn't been around in a while. It's been kind of quiet from, like, ownership around
And then
here.
the franchise owner's even gone, too. Mike Oxlong.
Oh, Mike Oxlong. Right. Holy shit. You gotta wonder, maybe Art killed them all.
I think he did. Have you gone into the crawl space? It's been really smelling bad lately.
No, I haven't. You want to go check it?
Oh, God.
Okay, let's go.
Dude, what is that?
What the fuck is that?
There's shit and bodies everywhere.
I'm not cleaning this up.
It has your name on the wall, dude.
Fuck that. I don't care. You're cleaning that up. Not.
I'm not here today.
You are right there.
The camera's not working, so I'm not here.
You are a ghost?
You don't know if I'm here. It's all darkness.
I know you're here. I see you. I'm not cleaning it up. All right. So does that mean we own the store now?
I guess, yeah.
Sweet. I've
The
always.
lease is like, I gave you the lease earlier, I think. I don't think you realized it.
Oh, yeah? You did? Do we need to sign anything? Do we need a lawyer?
Scabby Man already wrote it down.
Oh, Scabby Man, attorney at law?
Scabby Man, that's why.
Awesome. All right. That's what I'm talking
He just graduated
about.
law school.
Well, welcome to the VHS Doom rental store owned by Dylan and Mikey. Does that make us managers now? Can I fire Balthazar?
Why would you fire him?
I don't know. I love Balthazar. I'm just kidding, Balthy. If you hear this, I'm not firing you. Don't worry. One of these days, we're going to put out another Doombox podcast episode, and you'll hear Balthy again. But he hasn't made an appearance since the last time Mikey had to run home early. So he's doing well, though. I think he's just been visiting his demon grandma after he left the store last week early. I did yell at him about that, though. Piece of shit. Anyway, okay, well, so we're already like half an hour just chilling, so we should probably get to work.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
We need to open up. Yeah. People are waiting outside.
I know, man. All right, let's open the doors. All right, hello, all. Welcome in. Welcome back to the VHS Doom rental store and podcast. We're so glad that you decided to come back. Last week you didn't leave with any rentals. Well, I don't know what Balthazar sent you home with. Do you have the titles? Here, let me see. Oh, okay. Looks like, Serbian film. Oh, okay. Salo? Is that right? Did Balthazar send them with everything we were just talking about?
We weren't supposed to give those out yet. They were behind a curtain.
Holy, dude! That's. Did you guys go into the curtained off area of the store last week? Oh, you did. Balthazar pushed you in there. Oh.
I found a post on the ground that says, "Check your notes, Dylan."
Interesting. Let's see here. Labination? The Labiator. The Labination Nation. Yes. I think that's a great idea. Mikey also put the idea for the next episode in the chat. It's not just the Labination. Labination Nation. So it also looks like Balthazar sent them home with oh shoot. I lost it.
We didn't tell people to bring stuff home.
No. What were the two films that you got?
So I ordered some stuff from the horror label A Baroque House.
Oh, okay.
I already had these movies, but he just put them on Blu-ray. They're so remember how I was telling you about stuff like Tumbling Doll Flesh?
Mm-hmm.
So
yep.
He makes his own version of it, like the American version of it, I guess. And he made 3 movies, and they're very porny.
Okay.
But
porny.
Art house, indie gore movies too, at the same time. So there is A Sea of Blood. This one's just a crazy movie where someone gets brutally murdered and covered in blood and weird stuff. And then there's this movie Spit where someone people keep deep throating themselves until they die. I don't know how to explain it. I'm really bad at explaining things. And then there's Red Tragedy, which somebody kills themselves in the bathroom.
Oh, yeah. I saw the preview for that one. Now, these are all pretty short. They're only half an hour.
Yeah. And it's signed by him and one of the actresses, and this is number 66 out of 151 for the signed box sets.
Okay.
And he also sent me his feature film. I don't think it's sexual as that. It's called Let's Stop at the Morgue. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't really know what it's about. But I heard it's more of just a straightforward horror movie.
Okay, gotcha.
And then he gave me because for some reason when I ordered it, it already said fulfilled. So like he didn't realize it. I didn't realize it for about 2 months.
Oh, okay.
So he reached out to me because I've spoken to him before. And he gave me this one called Piggy Palace. I've never seen this.
Okay.
I have no idea what it is. It has an X rating on it, and it says gore on it too. So.
Okay, gotcha. Cool.
And it's
You'll have
the
to let us
director
know
is
how
Sam
that is.
Hell, and his horror label is A Baroque House.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so that was really cool of him. And I was when you sent me those titles, I hadn't heard of them, and I went and I watched the previews, and it's porny for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like they mostly use like sex workers as the actors in it. So.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
And,
So why would Balthazar send these customers home with those films?
that was supposed to come home with me. I think the pile got mixed up. I'm sorry.
Dude, we are so sorry. Please don't put in any complaints with. Oh wait, we're the managers now. You can put in a complaint. That's fine.
Yeah, he also signed Let's Stop at the Morgue.
Oh, cool. Nice. Very cool.
I have a bunch of his other titles too.
Okay. Nice. Good stuff, man. Well, anyway, it's like half an hour in. We should probably.
We keep talking about extreme movies as well.
I know. It's fun though. So for those of you who are new to this podcast, Mikey and I love film, right? And that's all sorts of films. Usually they're odd. Sometimes they're Oscar winners we'll talk about, but usually we're a little bit more in the culty and obscure categories. So we hope you enjoy that kind of stuff too. And if not, maybe this isn't the place for you, but we love having you here. One thing I will say, big thank you before we get started. I'm going to check the numbers real quick. Y'all are awesome because we are at 214 total plays of our podcast. So thank you all so much. We really, really appreciate that. And then in like the last 60 days, we've had 50 different people listen to our podcast. So pretty cool stuff.
And people are like interacting with our polls on Spotify.
Yeah, you guys are. Let me pull it up. I sent Mikey a text to this the other day. So we do polls most episodes, and I used to vote on them. I don't vote anymore because I want to know if it's like actually people voting that aren't us. And Mikey and I, neither of us voted on this poll, and there's 1 day left. So if you want to go vote, you won't hear this until after it's done. But go vote anyway, whatever. But it has 2 votes, and the question was, is Risotto Babalini Mikey's father? And an overwhelming majority of you, meaning the 2 people, both voted, yes, he's made a pasta. The other option was, nah, he no saucy. But, Mikey, they think you're saucy.
I didn't have a chance to see this. You sent me a picture of this. Because usually I listen to it and then I put it on, I post it on Twitter.
Okay, I gotcha.
So I listened to it and then I don't look at the bottom, so I didn't see that.
All right, so this week we are super happy that you guys have joined us for one of Mikey and I's favorite of all time franchises, and that would be The Evil Dead. So in the franchise of Evil Dead, they've had some remakes starting, I think in 2013, they started with the remakes, and then there was the one that came out recently. But technically, Evil Dead 1, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness are your Evil Dead original trilogy.
I do love the remake.
Yeah, I do too. The 2013.
I haven't seen Evil Dead Rise yet.
No, I have not either.
I'm still making my way down. I just recently watched Scream 6 and what's it called? Terrifier 2. So I don't know. I'm kind of.
Yeah, there's such a big list, man. And last year, just a ton of great movies came out. So it's hard to keep up. But anywho, so this week, what we're going to talk about, not so much the plot, because if you guys haven't watched The Evil Dead 1 or The Evil Dead 2, you need to go watch them now. Right now. Turn this off. Pause. I'll wait. Go watch 2 movies immediately and come back.
I'll silently judge you from across the room.
This motherfucker right
I
here.
announced it a week. You guys didn't know.
Follow us on our Twitter and you'll know. But anyway, that being said, so Evil Dead 2 is loosely... It's both a sequel and a remake. They consider it both. Because... for some reason, I don't know the answer to this, but Raimi didn't use footage from 1 and 2 to lead up to, so in the beginning of 2, they essentially just show, Bruce Campbell, they show Ash and his girlfriend driving up to the house, and they kind of play it out like that's their first visit, and they kind of just disregard everyone else that was in the first movie. I don't really know why he made that decision. I haven't looked into that, but so in a sense it is a sequel, but it's also kind of a remake in its own right,
and a comedy, slapstick comedy too.
Yeah, they add more comedy.
I loved it so much. Evil Dead 2 is my favorite one of the whole franchise. Yeah,
it's an amazing film. It's one of the best horror films of all time. And that's, I'm going to play an interview real quick of Quentin Tarantino where he talks about Evil Dead 2, because he agrees it's one of the best horror films of all time. So here's that interview really quick for you guys to listen to.
Do you remember the first time you saw Evil Dead? I mean, Evil Dead for me was like taking the most terrifying parts in The Exorcist and just jacking it up and multiplying it with 6 characters right from the opening scene.
Yeah.
I saw that at the right age. Do you remember when you first saw Evil Dead?
Yeah, I saw it the day it was released. I'm sure I saw it that Friday. Because I was waiting for it, because I read the Fangoria cover that had Ash with the
chainsaw.
With the chainsaw on it, and Stephen King, I have just seen the scariest movie of this decade or whatever, because it had played at MeFed or something. That was the news about it. There would be, movies like The Dorm That Dripped Blood or something would get coverage in Fangoria, but they wouldn't go apeshit over it. This they went apeshit over. I think I'd read an interview with Raimi and Tappert before I even saw the movie, so I saw it the day it opened.
That was like what made me want. And that, as a kid, was like, the fact that he was 21 and did it in the woods, I was like, you don't have to be from Hollywood to make a movie.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first time I conceptualized that.
And, that was great. And the Coen brothers with Blood Simple was great. But then, even though there was Crime Wave in between, then they follow it up with Raising Arizona and Evil Dead 2, which, in my generation of young guys, those were the 2 best movies made in our lifetimes.
I know. That was, for me, Evil Dead 2, for sure.
Evil Dead 2 and Raising Arizona, and the crazy way they shot it with all the camera doing all this stuff that we had never seen before.
With Three Stooges humor thrown into the most violent horror movie you'd ever seen. It was like taking the violence of the Three Stooges seriously.
Yeah. And both Raising Arizona and Evil Dead 2 just keep trying to top each other with their weird camera shots and whatever. If you're a movie-mad young guy in your early 20s and you see Raising Arizona and you see Evil Dead 2 and you see that shooting style, it's like, well, what's the point of ever shooting any movie not like that?
I know.
Also, the band Deicide has a song, Dead by Dawn, is about Evil Dead 2.
Nice.
Because that's the other title of Evil Dead.
Yeah, that was
Dead by Dawn.
That was the original title that got changed out, actually. But we'll talk a little bit about it.
I love that poster. I always wanted to get it tattooed on me.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
I like Bruce's eyes on there.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so that being said, we're not going to really dive into the plot of the movie. We're more going to talk about the production of the movie in this episode, because I hope you've all seen the plot, and it would be silly for us to go through each happening in the plot in a deep dive, kind of like we do in some of our other films that we talk about. So this week
it's going to be a 5-hour episode if we did.
It would be. It'd be a super long episode.
Knowing us and how much we love it. Yeah.
Every bit of it, right?
I have books on it. I can't find it right now, but I have a book of the production of it. It's been one of my favorite movies since I was a kid. So
yeah. So what we'll do, we'll have you guys step up to the counter real close. We can press play. We'll get a little bit of a sense of the back cover of the movie, and then we'll just jump right into production information and the history of the films. And particularly we'll start with Sam Raimi and kind of him, his early life, and then go into the film. So, all right, come on, step up close. Come on. Press play. Press play, motherfuckers.
Plus play!
No, it was the woods themselves. They're alive, Ashley.
I fear that the only way to stop those possessed by the spirits of the book is through the act of bodily dismemberment.
All right, let's go. So, first, let's jump into the short history and background of the man himself, Sam Raimi, writer and director of both Evil Dead 1 and 2. So, Sam Raimi was born on October 23rd, 1959. He is an American filmmaker. He's best known for directing the Spider-Man trilogy. Why would they write that first? And the Evil Dead
mainstream.
franchise. I guess it's more mainstream.
A lot of people don't watch horror movies, believe it or not. And I don't understand it, but, you know.
I believe it. I believe it. So, anyway, most well known to me for the Evil Dead franchise.
But not Spider-Man 3, no.
Spider-Man 3. Oh.
The studio messed him up so much he almost quit directing because of it.
Dude, that was a sad one. Anyway, all right. So he also directed the 1990 superhero film Darkman.
Hell yeah,
Yep.
with Liam Neeson.
Yep, and the 1995 revisionist western The Quick and the Dead.
I still need to see that one. I've never seen it.
I have not either. He also directed the 1998 neo-noir crime thriller A Simple Plan. Have you seen that?
I think I might have. It sounds awfully familiar.
Oh, sorry, Troy. Oh, goddamn. It's the soda pops, man.
I swear to God, he's going to be walking across Canada, his head knows fires, just burping.
Yeah, right? He's just over there. Like,
oh, he's using matches?
yeah, I don't know, whatever.
I heard he was using fireworks the other day.
Oh, was he? Huh. He's got a really nice garden. Anyway, okay. And
Everything
then
I
he
touch like that
also
dies.
directed the 2000 supernatural thriller film The Gift and the 2009 supernatural horror film Drag Me to Hell.
So good.
Yeah, as well as the 2013 Disney fantasy film Oz, the Great and Powerful, which I think did not star James Franco and Mila Kunis. Yeah, interesting.
Oh, I don't like him.
Anyway, latest film was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of
I
Madness.
heard that was good. I haven't seen it yet. I
haven't
heard Marvel
seen it
fans were
yet.
like pissing in their pants because of it.
Were they? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, there was a thing online saying people were saying like it was the scariest thing they've ever seen.
Okay.
And I'm here
Nice.
with all these movies that we talked about today.
All right. Well, go Sam Raimi for scaring the piss out.
I mean, he did it when I was a kid when I saw Evil Dead 1 and 2, so.
Oh my god, dude. The first time I saw that, I think I was like 13, maybe 14 the first time I saw the original Evil Dead. Holy shit, that did scare the shit out of me.
Especially
Anyway.
with the vines.
Oh, dude. We'll talk about that. We'll
Yeah.
get there. All right. So early life, Raimi was born in Royal Oak, Michigan, to a conservative Jewish family. He is the son of merchants Celia Barbara and Leonard Ronald Raimi. His ancestors were Jewish immigrants from Russia and Hungary. His younger brother Ted is an actor.
Yes, he
and
is. He's a really good actor, actually.
Yeah, and his older brother Ivan is a screenwriter and physician. Wow, that's a lot to live up to. His older sister Andrea is a court reporter, and another older brother, Sander, died at 15 in an accidental drowning. Wow, that's super sad.
That is really sad.
Raimi has said that the trauma knitted the remaining family closer together and colored everything he's done for the rest of his life. Raimi also mentioned that Sander first introduced him to Spider-Man, igniting his love for comics. Cool stuff. He graduated from Groves High School and later went on to attend Michigan State University, where he studied English, but left after 3 semesters to film The Evil Dead. So that is a quick little background of Sam Raimi. So moving forward, we are going to go ahead and jump in to the back cover of The Evil Dead. The Evil Dead is a 1981 American supernatural horror film written and directed by Sam Raimi, which was his feature directorial debut, but he did do short films before this. The film stars Bruce Campbell, Ellen Sandweiss, Richard Domenicore, Betsy Baker, and Teresa Tilly. The story focuses on 5 college students vacationing in an isolated cabin in a remote wooded area. After they find an audio tape that, when played, releases a legion of demons and spirits.
I love that.
Yep. 4 members of the group suffer from demonic possession, forcing the fifth member, Ash Williams, played by Bruce Campbell, to survive an onslaught of increasingly gory mayhem. Raimi, producer Robert G. Tappert, Campbell, and their friends produced the short film Within the Woods as a proof of concept to build interest in potential investors, which secured $90,000 to begin work on the Evil Dead project. Principal photography took place on location in a remote cabin located in Morristown, Tennessee, in a difficult filming process that proved extremely uncomfortable for the cast and crew. The film's extensive prosthetic makeup, effects, and stop-motion animations were created by artist Tom Sullivan, who would go on to do the effects for both Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, The Army of Darkness, as well as The Fly in 1989.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. The completed film attracted the interest of producer Irvin Shapiro, who helped screen the film at the 1982 Cannes Film Festival. Horror author Stephen King gave a rave review of the film, which resulted in New Line Cinema acquiring the distribution rights. Evil Dead grossed $2.4 million in the U.S. between 2.7 and $29.4 million worldwide. Wow, that's a very wide spread. Anyway, both early and later critical reception were universally positive. In the years since its release, the film has developed a reputation as one of the most significant cult films, cited among the greatest horror films of all time, and one of the most successful independent films. It launched the careers of Raimi, Tappert, and Campbell, who have continued to collaborate on several films together, such as Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. Was Bruce Campbell involved in Spider-Man?
He has a cameo in the first one.
Did he? I don't remember that.
Yeah, he was like on the street. I think he was like selling like a hot dog or something. No. He was a doorman.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Did he have any production credits on that? I wouldn't think so. It's a massive movie, but anyway, we'll put a pin in that. So, The Evil Dead spawned a media franchise beginning with 2 direct sequels written and directed by Raimi, which would be Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. A 4th film titled The Evil Dead, which serves as a soft reboot, and continuation. A follow-up television series, which is badass.
So
Ash
fucking
vs. Evil Dead. Can't beat that show, man.
I have that box set of Evil Dead 1 and 2 and the Evil Dead series, the 4K one, but opens has a giant book in it. It's awesome.
Nice. Very cool. So the Ash vs. the Evil Dead, which aired from 2015 to 2018, and a 5th film, Evil Dead Rise, which just came out this year. The franchise also includes a video game, or multiple video games and comic books, and the film's protagonist, Ash Williams, is considered to be a cultural icon. 100%.
I have a figure of him on my shelf.
Yeah, I feel like I should. I don't, but I should. Yes, so the film was released on October 15th of 1981 at the Redford Theater. We'll get into some details about that, but the budget for the initial film was $375,000, and the box office, oh my God, so much soda, was $2.7 million or $29.4 million, and I'm so confused as to why that's different. All right. So, again, we're not going to jump into the plot because that takes a ton of time and we have 2 movies to go and we're already almost at an hour. I don't know if we're going to make it. We might have to break this up into 2 episodes, but that's okay. So let's jump into some of the notes on production, the history of the film, and how everything came together. Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell grew up together and have been friends from an early age. The duo made several low-budget Super 8 film projects together, and several were comedies, including a movie called Clockwork and It's Murder, the short film. Shooting a suspense scene in It's Murder inspired the two to approach careers in the horror genre. After researching horror cinema at drive-in theaters, Raimi was set on directing a horror film, opting to shoot a proof-of-concept short film described by the director as a prototype that would attract the interest of financiers and use the funds raised to shoot a full-length project. The short film that Raimi created was called Within the Woods, which was produced for $1,600. Did you happen to see that, Mikey?
What did you say?
Did you happen to watch Within the Woods?
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but apparently it is a prequel, Evil Dead prequel. $1,600, wild. And then let's see here. For the Evil Dead movie itself, Raimi required over $100,000 to be able to make that, but they did get funded. So to generate funds to produce the film, Raimi approached Phil Gillis, who's a lawyer of one of his friends. Raimi showed him Within the Woods, and although Gillis was not impressed by the short film, he offered Raimi legal advice on how to produce The Evil Dead. With his advice in mind, Raimi asked a variety of people for donations, and even eventually begged some, I guess. Campbell had to ask several of his own family members, and Raimi asked every individual he thought that might be interested. He eventually raised enough money to produce a full-length film, though not the full amount he originally wanted. Raimi said the film would actually end up costing $375,000 to make.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much is that today?
Okay, so $1 in 1981 is equivalent to purchasing power of about $336 today. It'd be about $1.2 million today for a 20-year-old kid to raise for a movie. Wild. Anywho. All right, so with enough money to produce the film, Raimi and Campbell set out to make what was then titled Book of the Dead, a name inspired by Raimi's interest in the fiction of H.P. Lovecraft. The film was supposed to be a remake of Within the Woods, with a higher production value and a full-length runtime. Raimi turned 20 just before shooting began, and he considered the project his rite of passage. Wild. So it looks like a lot of these quotes and sources are coming from If Chins Could Kill, Confessions of a B-Movie Actor by Bruce Campbell. So if you guys want to check that book out, it was written in 2002, but a lot of the sources in this article are from that book. Okay, so pre-production and casting. Raimi asked for help and assistance from several of his friends and past collaborators to make The Evil Dead. Campbell offered to produce the film alongside Tappert and was subsequently cast as Ash Williams, the main character, since his producing responsibilities made him the only actor willing to stay during the production's entirety, which apparently was awful. To acquire more actors for the project, Raimi put an ad in the Detroit News. Betsy Baker was one of the actresses who responded. And Ellen Sandweiss, who appeared Within the Woods, was also cast. The crew consisted almost entirely of Raimi and Campbell's friends and family. The special makeup and effects artist for Within the Woods, Tom Sullivan, was brought on to compose the effects after expressing a positive reaction to working with Raimi in the past. He helped create many of the film's foam, latex, and fake blood effects, and this was a cool note, he actually added coffee as an extra ingredient into the traditional fake blood formula of corn syrup and food coloring, so to darken it up a little bit. Kind of cool. I didn't know that, and Thought that was neat.
We'll take that under advisement.
I will take that under advisement. Yep.
We will make Bravo.
Yep. Uh-huh. All right. So without any formal assistance from location scouts, the cast had to find filming locations on their own. The crew initially attempted to shoot the film in Raimi's hometown of Royal Oak, Michigan, but instead chose Morristown, Tennessee, as it was the only state that expressed enthusiasm for the project. Go Tennessee. Interesting. The crew quickly found a remote cabin located several miles away from any other buildings. During pre-production, the 13 crew members had to stay at the cabin, leading to several people sleeping in the same room. The living conditions were notoriously difficult, with several arguments breaking out between crew members.
You should have got them pizza.
What's that?
I was joking around to say you should have got them pizza.
Damn it, Sam Raimi. Don't you know? When people are at each other's throats, order a fucking pizza, bro.
I mean, Dylan did for me and Remy. We almost fought in that set.
Yeah, you.
I'm sorry to take us out from Evil Dead, but he wants to act like it's not my fault.
Dude, when Mikey and Romy, when I was filming them in the interrogation scene, yeah, they were starting to get a little cranky. And what do? Order pizza. That's it. But we'll hear shortly that was not Sam Raimi's technique with actors. We'll get to that. He's pretty funny, actually. Anyway, so Steve Frankel was the only carpenter on set, which made him the art direction's sole contributor. For exterior shots, Frankel had to produce several elaborate props with a circular saw. So cool. Have somebody who's handy. Otherwise, the cabin mostly remained the way it was found during production. And that's a pretty cool note. So they ended up reproducing that cabin for Evil Dead 2. But how neat is it that they kind of found a cabin and that just happened to be the look for the franchise? You know what I mean?
I heard they actually found the book, though.
What's that?
The book was actually in the basement.
No. That'd be wild, though. I was going to say, I haven't read that note, bro, but if that's true, holy shit. Okay, so one thing, a note that I just happened to notice between watching these two movies, back to back. So in the first film, they're kind of careful not to hurt the cabin. Have you noticed that? They're not, other than the windows and stuff, but I think that's all kind of done separately. But they don't break down doors. They're not in the second one, that's when they put the axes through the walls and they're really breaking the place.
When he starts breaking plates over his own head.
Right. When you notice outside of the cabin on the front porch, there's a lattice. So there's on one side, there's the little swing. And then across from that, there's a lattice. In the second film, Bruce Campbell, when he's possessed, breaks through that and just starts shattering it. They don't really hurt the cabin too much in the first film, which is kind of funny. It makes sense though, because they were renting it from somebody.
Deadite Ash is the cooler version, in my opinion.
What's that?
I think Deadite Ash is awesome.
Oh yeah, that's very cool makeup.
I love
very,
the
very
eyes.
Cool makeup. Yeah, very cool eyes. We'll get to a note on those eyes actually shortly. So. Anyway, moving on. So, principal photography. The film was made on Kodak 16mm film stock with a rented camera.
Oh, wow.
The inexperienced crew made filming a comedy of errors. The first day of filming led to them getting lost in the woods during a scene shot on a bridge.
That would be us, honestly.
Right. For real. Several crew members were injured during the shoot, and because of the cabin's remoteness, securing medical assistance was difficult.
So they're in their own version of Evil Dead.
You're right, exactly. One notably gruesome moment on set involved ripping off Baker's eyelashes during the removal of her face mask.
Jesus.
That's
I was worried
wild.
about that when we were doing the slit throat thing. I was nervous my chest hair was going to get melted into the into the t-shirt.
Yes. Oh man, yeah, for sure. That silicone really, it'll grab on. So
that shirt was never the same again. It melted into the floor.
Yeah, that was wild, bro. That was wild. Anyway, so because of the low budget of this film, contact lenses as thick as glass had to be applied to the actors to achieve the demonic eyes effect. Oh my god. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna throw up eventually. Sorry, Troy. Troy was like, "Oop, set another fire."
It's turned to vomit radio now.
Right. Okay, so the lenses apparently took 10 minutes to apply and could only be left on for about 15 minutes because your eyes could not breathe with them applied. Campbell later commented that to get the effect of wearing these lenses, they had to put Tupperware over their eyes. Huh.
What?
But that's from his book. So, again, most of these sources are Bruce Campbell's book, but anyway.
I don't think he's kidding when he says that, though.
I don't know, man. Like, what are they just like? All right, my eyes are nice and glassy now. I don't know, man. Anyway, all right. So Raimi developed a sense of mise en scene. Did I say that right? Mise en scene? I think so.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah.
For coming up with scenes at a fast rate.
It's not Italian, so you can pronounce it.
What's that?
I said it's not Italian, so you can pronounce it.
Oh, beep it about boo. That's true. Mario, Luigi, Lucio, Fulci. He had drawn several crude illustrations to help him break down the flow of scenes. The crew was surprised when Raimi began using Dutch angles. Dutch angles would be when you turn and get some kind of sideways scenes. But he was using those to build atmosphere. To accommodate Raimi's style of direction, several elaborate... What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
Okay. All right. I can't see you. I wish I could see you. I can keep an eye on you. Okay. So, yes, to accommodate Raimi's style of direction, several elaborate low-budget rigs had to be built. Since the crew could not afford a camera dolly. Yeah, I mean, if you're 20 years old, makes sense. One involved the Vasocam, which relied on a mounted camera that was slid down a long wooden platform to create a more fluid sense of motion. So a camera trick used to emulate a steady cam inexpensively was the shaky cam. Interesting. Okay.
Which the Coen brothers ended up using in their first movie, Blood Simple.
Right. So that involved mounting a camera to a piece of wood and having two camera operators sprint around the swamp.
Yeah, they had to create that effect too as well.
Yeah, very cool. That's a very cool effect, though. During scenes involving the unseen force in the woods that's watching the characters, Raimi had to run through the woods with a makeshift rig on, jumping over logs and stones. This often proved difficult due to mist in the swamp. The film's final scene was shot with the camera mounted to a bike while it was quickly driven through the cabin to create a seamless long take. Pretty cool stuff there. Raimi had been a big fan of the Three Stooges during his youth, which inspired him to use fake chimps during production. So in any scene that required a background shot of a character, he used another actor as a substitute if the original actor was preoccupied. So during a close-up involving Richard Domanicour's hand opening a curtain, Raimi used his own hand in the scene since it was more convenient. His brother Ted Raimi was used as a fake chimp in many scenes when the original actor was either busy or preoccupied. Now, this is the note that I was like, okay, maybe I wasn't directing the right way for you and Romit. So Raimi enjoyed torturing his actors. Raimi believed that to capture pain and anger in his actors, he had to abuse them a little at times, saying...
So it's like William Friedkin or like Toby Hooper.
Right. If everyone was in extreme pain and misery...
Or Stanley Kubrick on The Shining.
Right. It would translate into a horror, right? So
which I think is extremely messed up, honestly.
It really is.
Like, you don't have to have that. Like, it's kind of ridiculous.
Well, listen to this. So... the producer, Robert Tappert, agreed with Raimi, commenting that he enjoyed when an actor bleeds. That's fucked up, bro. While shooting a scene with Campbell running down a hill, Campbell tripped and injured his leg. Apparently, Raimi enjoyed poking Campbell's injury with a stick he found in the woods.
I mean, they're just messing with each other. They're just friends.
Right,
like
I know. Because of the copious amounts of blood in the film, the crew produced gallons of fake blood with the Caro corn syrup. It took Campbell hours to remove the sticky substance from himself. Several actors had inadvertently been stabbed or thrown into objects during the production. During the last few days on set, the conditions had become so extreme that the crew began burning furniture to stay warm. Since at that point only exterior shots were needed to be filmed, they burned nearly every piece of furniture left. Several actors went days without showering, and because of the freezing conditions, several caught colds and other illnesses. Campbell later described the filming process as nearly 12 weeks of mirthless exercise and agony, though he allowed that he did manage to have fun while on set. On January the 23rd, 1980, filming was finished and almost every crew member left to return home, with Campbell staying with Raimi. While looking over footage that had been shot, Raimi discovered that a few pickups were required to fill in missing shots. 4 days of reshoots were then done to complete the film. The final movement involved Campbell having monster guts splattered on him in the basement. Cool stuff.
Oh, I did have a note about one of the people who's like has to do with like Evil Dead and like all the other movies they've done together.
Okay, yeah.
So you remember the slasher movie The Intruder?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
So it's directed by Scott Spiegel, who wrote the second Evil Dead. And he's like Sam Raimi's like lifelong friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's 1989 slasher Intruder. It takes place in a grocery store. Ted Raimi, I think, yeah. Sorry. Sam Raimi's in it. Ted Raimi's in it. Bruce Campbell's in it. Greg Nicotero's in it.
That's cool. It's cool when you can like keep making movies with your film. Yeah, I mean your friends like forever. You know?
Oh man, do you remember that one kill with the food slicer?
Man, fun stuff, man.
Yeah.
I wish, I wish we lived closer and we could keep making movies. That would be great. Eventually,
I mean, we're not as close as like when you lived in Texas.
I know, we're a little closer. So, eventually, hopefully, I just make enough money that I can produce a film myself. So that's the goal. All right, so moving on, we're going to move into the editing section. And honestly, brother, I don't know that we're going to be able to get through both of these films today. We might just have to do one Evil Dead 1 and then follow it up with a second episode of Evil Dead 2, I think. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with talking about it for 2 episodes, if you are.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
All right, cool. So we'll keep going then. All right, so continuing, the film's first cut ran at around 117 minutes, which Campbell called an impressive achievement in the light of the 65-minute length of the screenplay. The cut scenes were to focus on the main character's lamentation of not being able to save the victims from their deaths, but that was edited down to make the film less grim and depressing and to be more marketable for 85 minutes. Raimi was inspired by the fact that Brian De Palma was editing his own film, Blowout, with John Travolta at the same sound facility.
An amazing movie.
Yeah, for sure. One of the most intricate moments during editing was the stop-motion animation sequence where the corpses melted, which took hours to cut properly. The film had a unique sound that required extensive recording from the crew. Several sounds were not recorded properly during shooting, which meant the effects had to be redone in the editing rooms. Unfortunately, well, they were already dead, but dead chickens were stabbed to replicate the sound of mutilated flesh, and Campbell had to scream into a microphone for hours. Much like Within the Woods, The Evil Dead needed to be blown up to 35 millimeters, then the industry standard to be played at movie theaters. The relatively large budget made this a much simpler process with The Evil Dead than it had been with the short film. All right, so we are going to jump into promotion, the release, the theater release, and then also we're going to jump into where they caught a huge lucky break. So, with the film completed, Raimi and the crew decided to celebrate with a big premiere. They chose to screen the film at Detroit's Redford Theater, which Campbell had often visited as a child. Raimi opted to have the most theatrical premiere possible, using custom tickets and wind tracks. set in the theater and ordering ambulances outside of the theater to build an atmosphere, which is a really good idea. The premiere setup was inspired by horror director William Castle, who would often attempt to scare his audiences by using gimmicks. If you guys have listened to the Doombox podcast
I was just
episode,
going to say that, yeah. It's a tingler.
yeah, about Vincent Price, the Tingler was a gimmick that they used, which would make your seat vibrate when the monster was tickling the person on the screen. So anyway, local turnout.
It really did look like it was tickling somebody.
Right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there was another movie that he did. That producer who he had like a skeleton fly over the
House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah, like fly over the theater in the middle of the film, and it would just scare the shit out of people. And then he sold life insurance policies on one film because he said it was the scariest film of all time. So
which movie
really,
was that?
I can't remember which one it was. Go listen to the episode, Doombox Podcast, episode 4. Anyway, so local turnout for the premiere exceeded the cast expectations with 1,000 people showing up. Very cool. The audiences responded enthusiastically to the premiere, which led to Raimi's idea of touring the film to build hype. Raimi showed the film to anyone willing to watch it, booking meetings with distribution agents and anyone with experience in the film industry. Eventually, Raimi came across Irvin Shapiro, the man who was responsible for the distribution of George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead and other famous horror films. Very cool. Upon first viewing the film, he joked that while it wasn't Gone with the Wind, it had a commercial potential, and he expressed an interest in distributing it. It was his idea to not use the then title of Book of the Dead because he thought it made the film sound boring. Raimi brainstormed several ideas, eventually going with The Evil Dead, which was deemed the least worst title. Shapiro,
yeah, he didn't really like it too much.
Right? Isn't that funny? Anyway, Shapiro also advised distributing the film worldwide to garner a larger income, though it required further financial investment by Raimi, who managed to scrape together what little money he had. Okay, so here's where a major break came for Raimi. Shapiro happened to be one of the founders of the Cannes Film Festival, and that allowed Raimi to screen the film at the 1982 festival outside of competition. Stephen King was present at its screening and gave the film a rave review. USA Today released an article about King's favorite horror films. The author cited The Evil Dead as his 5th favorite film of the genre. The film severely affected King, who commented that while watching the film at Cannes, he was registering things he had never seen in a movie before. He became one of the film's largest supporters during the early efforts to find a distributor, eventually describing it as the most ferociously original film of the year, a quote used in the film's promotional pieces. King's comments attracted the interest of critics who otherwise would likely have dismissed the low-budget thriller. So that is the biggest break that they had in this whole franchise. The film's press attracted the attention of British film distribution agent Stephen Woolley. Though he considered the film a big risk, Woolley decided to take on the job of releasing the film in the United Kingdom. The film was promoted in an unconventional manner for a film of its budget, receiving marketing on par with that of larger budget films. Dozens of promotional pieces, including film posters and trailers, were showcased in the UK. Heavy promotion rarely expended on such a low-budget film. Woolley was impressed by Raimi, who he called charming, and was an admirer of the film, which led to him taking more risks with the film's promotion than he normally would have. Fangoria then started covering the film in late 1982, writing several articles about the film's long production history. Early critical reception at the time was very positive, and along with Fangoria, King, and Shapiro's approval, the film generated an impressive amount of interest before its commercial premiere. New Line Cinema, one of the distributors interested in the film, negotiated an agreement to distribute it domestically. The film had several sneak previews before its commercial release, including screenings in New York and Detroit. Audience reception at both screenings was widely enthusiastic, and interest was built for the film to such an extent that wider distribution was planned. New Line Cinema wrote Raimi a check large enough to pay off all of his investors and decided to release the film in an unusual manner, simultaneously into both cinema and onto VHS with substantial domestic promotion. So, Raimi got lucky, like real lucky on that one. Like finding Shapiro, right, who just happened to release Night of the Living Dead, like what? But then happening to have a non-competition showing at Cannes where Stephen King happened to be in the theater.
That's wild.
That's just wild, man. The film stands up, right? The film, it's a strong film, and he put a lot of work into it, so he did the work. But if Stephen King hadn't been in that theater, and Shapiro hadn't been one of the founders of Cannes, it could have been a much longer time before it became a cult film. So pretty cool stuff. All right, any notes from you, Mikey, before we continue?
Did you hear that?
No.
There wasn't a loud explosion?
Balbini, Babalini, I'll explode your soul.
I think somebody lit off a firework, sorry.
Oh, you're good. I think it might be good. If we take a second to kind of talk about some of the elements of the film. So what were some of your favorite parts of The Evil Dead 1?
I'm bringing out my notes, I'm sorry.
You're fine. Take your time. Oh, by the way, Hollywood actors have just voted to go on strike. They will join already striking writers in a standoff likely to grind the entertainment industry to a halt. That just came out right now, 3:34 from the Wall Street Journal on July the 13th, 2023. You heard it here first if you're listening, and that's the first time you've heard it.
It froze.
Oh, did it?
On my end, yeah.
Damn. Okay. Well, okay. Some of my thoughts. Okay, so some elements of this film which came out like early 80s that were super advanced. One, the stop motion, obviously, when the bodies were melting and those like monster effects and creature effects, but when the vines were grabbing that girl's leg. I wonder how they filmed that, man.
I don't even know, dude. That's a crazy scene.
I
saw that far too young, I feel like.
Yeah, I did too. So one thing that they did between 1 and 2, they did the same type of thing in 2 where a girl was grabbed. But in 1, they like raped the girl. 2, they didn't go as far with that,
Yeah, that was really disturbing.
Yeah, I feel like if they had carried that out to a wider audience, it could have been very, very disturbing for sure. But that was pretty rough to watch as a young kid. What else? Let's see. Oh, when they did transition from a single barrel shotgun to a double barrel shotgun from 1 to 2, when he made his boomstick. So that's cool. Bruce Campbell's acting really, he turned up the skill from 1 to 2. Just to like his facial expressions and, how much he was doing when it came to acting was really solid.
How over the top they were, that was crazy.
What's that?
I said how over the top they were in that movie was crazy.
Yeah, his like
my favorite scene is the one where all of the things go like Pee Wee Herman-esque and like they start laughing at him.
Oh, like the deer when it starts laughing Yeah, I feel like, honestly, it's kind of cool because Sam Raimi had the chance to remake his, intro into cinema and probably add in all the elements that he wished he could have added in, in the first one. But, I mean, like the face... The deadite face, well, technically it's Ash's sister in the first one. I'm pretty sure that's Ashley's sister who gets locked in the basement,
I think so, yeah.
right? Like her face is very iconic when it comes to the deadite look. I think more so than the mother in Evil Dead 2. I think she has a more
Henrietta?
classic look. But anyway,
That was played by Ted Raimi.
what?
Henrietta in the...
Oh, Henrietta was Ted Raimi? Mm-hmm. That's funny. How about that? Interesting. Yeah. Anyway, well, I figured we'd take a second to talk about just notes from the actual film, but we can move on. So let's get into the theatrical notes. So because of the large promotional campaign, the film did perform above expectations at the box office. However, the initial domestic gross was described as disappointing. The movie opened in 15 theaters and grossed $108,000 in its opening weekend. Word of mouth later spread and the film became a sleeper hit, which grossed $2,400,000 domestically, nearly 8 times its production budget. Sources differ as to whether it grossed $261,000 overseas for a worldwide gross of $2.6 million or $27 million overseas. That's very weird. That's such a wide gap. I don't know why people argue over that. You feel like you would know that total. But anyway, Raimi said in 1990 that the film did very well overseas and it did very poorly domestically, and that its investors earned a return of about 5 times on their initial investment. So that's cool. Rating. So the film's release was met with controversy as Raimi had made the film as gruesome as possible with neither interest nor fear of censorship. Writer Bruce Quain described The Evil Dead as one of the most notorious splatter films of its day, along with Cannibal Holocaust and I Spit on Your Grave. In the UK, the film was trimmed by 49 seconds before it was granted an X certificate for cinema release. This censored version was also released on home video. At the time, there was no requirement that the films had to be classified for video release. A campaign by pro-censorship organization NVLA led to the film being labeled a video nasty. There it is again. And when the Video Recordings Act was passed in 1984, the video version was removed from circulation. In 1990, a further 66 seconds were trimmed from the already censored version, and the film was granted an 18 certificate for home video release.
England, right?
Yep. In 2000, the uncut version was finally granted an 18 certificate for both cinema and home video. So it was officially a video nasty alongside Cannibal Holocaust and I Spit on Your Grave and other great films. In the U.S., the film received an X rating. Films with this label were quite violent and disturbing, and the rating was often held by pornographic films. The film has since been re-rated NC-17 for substantial graphic horror, violence, and gore, though many recent home media releases have been released without a rating. The film was and is still banned either theatrically or on video in some countries. How about that? Interesting. All right. And then home media release, which we said was simultaneous for this film. That was the first VHS was released by Thorn EMI in 1983, and Thorn's successor company, HBO Canon Video, later repackaged the film. The former HBO video partner, Congress Video, a company notable for public domain films, issued its version in 1989. In its first week of video release, the film made $100,000 in the UK. It quickly became that week's best-selling video release and later became the year's best-selling video in the UK, outgrossing large-budget horror releases such as The Shining. Its impressive European performance was chalked up to its heavy promotion there and more open-minded nature of European audiences. The resurgence of The Evil Dead in the home video market came through 2 companies that restored the film from its negatives and issued special editions in 1998. Anchor Bay Entertainment on VHS and Elite Entertainment on Laserdisc. Did you or the fam have the VHS Anchor Bay?
No, I have the DVD from them. The one who ran Elite, I think is the guy who owns Synapse Films now.
Oh yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha. Nice. Yeah, so it looks like, Anchor Bay put out the DVD on January 19th, 1999.
I found it like a couple years later used in FYE.
Nice. Okay.
Or Coconuts at the time, that's what it was.
So it looks like Elite and Anchor Bay have released 6 different DVD versions of The Evil Dead, and most notably the 2002 Book of the Dead edition, packaged in a latex replica of the Necronomicon, sculpted by Tom Sullivan, and the 2007 3-disc Ultimate Edition, which contained the widescreen
right?
and original full-frame versions of the movie.
Is that the one that came with the dagger?
Came with what?
The dagger.
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't say.
There was one of them that came with the book and the dagger.
Oh, nice. Okay. Let's see here. The film's high-definition debut was a 2010 Blu-ray. Do you have that one? 2010?
Oh, I have the that box that they put out recently. I think it's called the Groovy Edition.
Oh, nice. Okay.
My uncle got it for me because he got one and he likes movies. He doesn't collect them anymore. He has like a server where he puts all his movies. He created his own server for like his computer and stuff.
Okay.
So he literally like when it's a movie I like, he'll give me the physical release of it.
Gotcha. Very cool, man. Yeah. Very cool. All right, so we'll go through real quick reception notes, and then we'll jump ahead to the film's legacy and a few other things, and then we'll call it done on this.
If you hear Sammy, he's playing in the other room with Katie.
Hi, Sammy. Aw, that's awesome. Did he wake up early?
Yeah, Katie got home early, so I asked her if she could do that.
Nice, cool. All right, so our critical response. Upon its release, contemporary critical opinion was largely positive. Bob Martin, who was the editor of Fangoria, reviewed the film before its formal premiere and proclaimed that it might be the exception to the usual run-of-the-low budget horror films. He followed up on his praise after the film's premiere, stating, "Since I started editing this magazine, I have not seen any new film that I could recommend to our readers with more confidence that it would be loved, embraced, and hailed as a new milestone in graphic horror." Holy shit, that is a great review. The Los Angeles Times called the film an instant classic, proclaiming it as probably the grisliest. Oh, yeah, look at that. Probably the grisliest well-made movie ever. In a 1982 review, staff from the trade magazine Variety wrote that the film emerges as the ne plus ultra of low-budget gore and shock effect, commenting that the powerful and inventive camera work was key to creating a sense of dread, which was really amazing camera work, considering it's just people running through the woods. You know?
Yeah, getting attacked by tree monsters. So.
Right? Wild, bro. Wild. British press also gave the film, positive reviews. Across the board, they were all very solid positive reviews. And even later reviews, later response and modern reviews of the movie have all been good, and including one quote here from J.C. Masek of Pop Matters. "What is unquestionable is that the Raimis and their pals created a monster in The Evil Dead. It started as a disastrous failure to obtain a big break with a too long, too perilous shoot. Note Campbell's changing hairstyle in the various scenes of the one-day plot." I didn't even pay attention to that. The film went through name changes and bannings only to survive as not only the ultimate experience in grueling horror, but as an oft-imitated and cashed-in-on classic with 30 years of positive reviews to prove it. Very cool. All right, so Aftermath. Let's see here. So, while The Evil Dead received favorable critical comment when it was initially released and later, it did fail to establish Raimi's reputation. It was, however, a box office success, which led to Campbell and Raimi teaming up again for the release of another movie. Joel Cohen and his brother Ethan had collaborated as directors and released the film Blood Simple to critical acclaim. According to Campbell, Ethan, then an accountant, oh wow, I didn't know that, expressed surprise when the duo succeeded. The Coen brothers and Raimi collaborated on a screenplay, which was released shortly after The Evil Dead. The film Crime Wave was a box office failure. The film's production was a disaster, according to Campbell, who stated that missteps like Crime Wave usually led to the end of a director's career. Other people involved with the film expressed similar disappointment with the project. Fortunately, Raimi had the studio support to make a sequel to Evil Dead, which he initially decided to make out of desperation. So, as we all know, we will see, Evil Dead 2, the sequel, next week, because we're we're at an hour and 40 minutes now, so we're gonna have to wait until next week. But there were other films that followed up as well. So you had Evil Dead 2: Dead by Dawn in 1986. Dead by Dawn. I can never do I don't know the words in the I just posted the what is it? Is that what it is? Yeah.
Something
anyway.
Kanda.
In the
Kanda.
in the preview of Evil Dead 2, they sing it in the beginning. It's like high voices, like a choir singing those words. I don't know the words though. Anyway. Yeah, so that as I stated, and as Quentin Tarantino stated earlier, is considered to be
Barata Nikto.
Yeah, nice.
Kanda.
So it is considered to be like one of the best horror films of all time. So go Sam Raimi on doing that. Then also that was followed by Army of Darkness, which is comedy, fantasy, horror, released in 1993, which is tons of fun. He then went on to make Darkman. Let's see here. So, yeah, we didn't see the Evil Dead again until Evil Dead 2013 was released, featuring Jane Levy as the main character of Mia Allen.
Drag Me to Hell was like a related movie to it.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So, and then as we know, Ash versus Evil Dead, and then Evil Dead Rise was extremely popular this year. And was put out by Warner Brothers Pictures. So good on you, Sam Raimi, for pushing through and making more movies. As far as...
I sent you some notes.
Oh, perfect. What you got? What? Oh, Sammy keeps yelling, Daddy farted?
It's not that one, but yeah. No,
Daddy farted. Did you fart?
No, Katie's telling him to say that.
Yes. Can he come say it in the mic, please?
No, he's gonna be too shy.
Oh,
do you hear him laughing?
Linguini fettuccine acquatini. Daddy farted. Oh, Babalini. All right, let's see. So you got me Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell. What?
It's a Japanese movie that is the Japanese version equivalent of Evil Dead.
Okay, cool. So it's directed by Shinichi
Fukazawa.
Shinichi Fukazawa.
There you go.
Shinichi Fukazawa. Okay, cool. Well, everybody go check that out. Very neat. And then you also sent me The Red Sin Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a teen girl's psychotic ex-boyfriend follows her friends to Red Sin Tower, where a night of partying quickly becomes a fight for their very lives.
It's a very low-budget movie from 2006. It's directed by the extreme horror director Fred Vogel.
Okay, so that's an homage movie?
I would say so. It's almost a plot of Evil Dead where they find something and then they become possessed in it.
Okay, and it's so the director also directed August Underground?
Yeah, August Underground, The Murder Collection, which was a fake snuff compilation.
Okay, gotcha. Nice. All right, well, as far as other legacy items, because those are legacy items, you have a Japanese Evil Dead kind of film, and then an homage movie.
So there was a stint in Italy where they kept calling other movies La Casa or like Evil Dead movies. Because in Italy, the Evil Dead series was called La Casa.
Okay.
So there was
gotcha.
a few of them. Ghost House by Bertha Lenzi is called La Casa 3. And then I think Witchery with Linda Blair and David Hasselhoff from Italy. There was La Casa 4, which was the Witchery, which I just told you about. And then Casa 5 by called Beyond Darkness. And guess who directed that one?
Who?
The director of Troll 2, Claudio Figueroa.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Very cool, man. Yeah, I think that Evil Dead's reach as far as its legacy goes is so wide. I think there's so much influence that it's given to cinema and to directors and to the horror genre in general. And obviously, Bruce Campbell became an icon, and he calls himself like a B-movie icon, but I think he really is just like an icon in general. He has a cult following based on this character, and that's gone on to, he does get compared in everything that he does to that performance in Ash, because it was his defining role, but he's such a cool dude,
I liked him when he played Elvis in Bubba Hotep.
Right, yes, yeah, that is true. And then he was also a demon in the X-Files episode Terms of Endearment.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And then he was in a short-lived series called The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. Anyway, he sells out auditoriums for public appearances. He's doing this like game show deal now. So he's had a cool life for sure.
He was on Burn Notice for a while, if you remember that TV show.
Yeah. But let's talk a little bit about some of the Evil Dead media empire items. So it really did spawn an empire.
Yeah, the new video game is really good.
Yep. So a video game adaptation of the same name was released for the Commodore 64 in 1984, as well as a trilogy. What?
I'm talking about the new one.
Yeah, no, I know. We're going to go through all of them.
Okay.
As well as a trilogy of survival horror games in the 1990s and early 2000s. Evil Dead, Hail to the King. Evil Dead, A Fistful of Boomstick.
Which one was the one on PlayStation 1?
Evil Dead Regeneration, maybe?
I think I might have. I played one of them. I don't remember which one. It was on PlayStation, I think.
Well, so Ted Raimi did voices for the trilogy, and Bruce Campbell returned as the voice of Ash. The character Ash became the main character of a comic book franchise. Ash has fought both Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees in the Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash series. Herbert West in Army of Darkness versus Reanimator, which we talked about. Yeah, we talked about that in our Reanimator episode. And then he fought zombie versions of the Marvel Comics superheroes in Marvel Zombies versus the Army of Darkness. Yep. And he's even saved the life of a fictional Barack Obama in Army of Darkness, Ash Saves Obama.
I've never seen that. Is that real?
That's real.
Oh, I thought you were messing with me for a second.
No, bro. Look it up. Look it up. The cover is awesome. It's really cool. Okay. In January 2008, Dark Horse Comics began releasing a 4-part monthly comic book miniseries written by Mark Verheiden and drawn by John Bolton based on The Evil Dead. What were you saying?
This is real?
It's real. I told you it's real.
I
yeah.
can buy this on Amazon?
You can buy it right now. Yes. Ash Saves Obama.
That cover is hilarious.
Right. Anyway, so the film has also inspired a stage musical, which is Evil Dead, the musical.
I heard it was really good.
Yeah, I've heard that too. It was produced with the permission of Raimi and Campbell. The musical has run on and off since its inception in 2003. Okay, now, sad note here because people are assholes. And people are messy. That is what it is. After the film was released, many people began to trespass onto the filming location in Morristown. In 1982, the cabin was burned down by drunken trespassers. Although the cabin is now gone, the chimney remains, which many people now take stones from when they trespass on to the location.
That cabin can't catch a break.
Bro, you can't. Can we have anything nice, guys? Like, can we have
Stop
anything
stealing
nice?
things, burning stuff down.
Right? Come on. Like, why?
You guys were here yesterday doing that here. Dylan
Right?
doesn't know how much construction I had to put into the story.
Were they just like burning cases yesterday?
Yeah.
God, just be nice. Like, be kind, rewind, and stop burning down cabins. And
I
like,
told them the room was supposed to be bad, and they bought it anyway.
oh,
We don't even sell
God.
things. They just like bought it and gave us money.
really?
Yeah, it was weird. They're protesting something, but they're burning it in the middle of the store.
You're so fucking quiet, bro. I know you probably have your family around, so
No,
but
it's
you
my
were
mic.
like so quiet.
My mic is like really bad.
Oh, I got you. Okay, we got to get Mikey a mic. That reminds me, go to vhsdoom.com and buy a T-shirt. All T-shirts it's on the very bottom of the website. Any T-shirts that we sell, all proceeds go towards Mikey getting a mic.
Hello?
All right.
Hello?
Bro, stop it.
This is not a bit. I promise. I'm not.
Holy shit. You're funny. All right, so moving on.
This Xbox mic is broken.
Very final note. In 2021, heavy metal band Ice Nine Kills released a song titled Ex Mortis on their album The Silver Scream 2, Welcome to Horrorwood, which is composed of songs each explicitly linked to specific horror media per the album's booklet of liner notes. Ex Mortis is stated to be inspired by The Evil Dead.
I have a note like that.
Yeah, what you got?
Mortician did their song Necronomicon Ex Mortis from their Domain of Death album.
Nice, nice.
And they use, I think there's a couple other songs they use the samples from Evil Dead 2 where the book is being read.
Good stuff, man. Well, that brings us to the end. This is the end. We're almost at 2 hours, and we only covered one film, and that's because we love them so much. So I knew it was going to go long. So this episode's going to turn from the Evil Dead 1 and 2 into the Evil Dead 1, and we're going to come back next week with Evil Dead 2, The Vengeance of VHS Doom, and talk to you guys about the rest. Dead by dawn. All right, so we're going to hop on out of this deep dive, and we're going to go ahead and make our movie recommendations and get you guys checked out. So go ahead and grab your popcorn, your candy, your sody pops. We got to be careful. They'll make you burp. And let's make some recommendations. So, Mikey the movie man, what movies are our friends going home with?
When I worked
this
in a
week?
certain warehouse, I had a manager who called me Movie Mike.
Nice.
You should remind me
Well,
of that.
Mikey Movie. That's what I'm going to call you.
All right.
Instead of Mikey Mutant, you're Mikey Movie. All right, so what movies are we sending these kind folks home with?
Phantasm and Memorial Valley Massacre.
All right, so Mikey's sending you with Phantasm. And what was it?
Memorial Valley Massacre.
I am obviously sending you home with Evil Dead.
From 1989.
Yeah. And that leaves two more. So for those of you who don't know, the VHS Doom Rental Club, when you join and become a member for $3 a month, you get to take home 5 rentals per week. So really, really good deal. So every week we send you home with 5 rentals, typically 4 of those being fun stuff that we like and 1 of those being a kid's film. So I'm going to add in Little Corey Gory. And lastly, we're going to send you guys home with a kid's film.
I think it's my pick this time, right? Or was it yours?
I did the last one because I sent them with Rocket Man.
Okay, so let's see. Do you think Kindergarten Cop would be good?
I think that would be fucking great.
Okay.
The Arnold.
Who is your daddy and what does he do? It is not a tumor.
It is not a tumor. Starring Arnold Schwarzenegger from 19 what?
75.
No, 1990. How old are you? 1975. Yes, so 1990s Kindergarten Cop, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, directed by Ivan Reitman. In this action comedy, unusual circumstances find big, brawny cop John Kimball
Rest in peace,
posing as a kindergarten teacher in order to apprehend major drug lord Cullen Crisp, played by Richard Tyson. Very cool. Tons of fun. And, oh, man, do you remember the movie Junior? Danny DeVito, Arnold Schwarzenegger was pregnant.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Twins. I get those two confused.
Yeah, I remember Twins too. Yeah.
He directed. Ivan Reitman directed that also.
Yeah, it's just showing up because of it's right underneath the kindergarten cop title. That's funny. Anyway, so this week your 5 you're going home with for only $3 a month. Don't forget, sign up with Mikey. He's got all the paperwork.
Buy a shirt.
Evil Dead 1, Phantasm, Memorial Valley Massacre, Little Corey Gory, and Kindergarten Cop. Don't forget to be kind and rewind, and whatever you do, never, ever, ever spit in the cases and return them, and never, ever, ever bite the cases before you return them, and never, ever, ever put CDs of Elton John or Billy Joel in the return box instead of the movies we've sent you home with. Okay? All right, guys. That's all I got. Mikey, I guess I was going to say it's your turn to announce next week's episode, but I think we know what we're going to do.
Well, I'll announce the next one after that then.
Okay, yeah. So next week we're going to have to do a follow-up episode and release Evil Dead 2 since we ran out of time. But what are we going to do after that, Mikey?
2000s ridiculous, I don't know if I would call it a horror movie, but I guess like thriller from Japan, Battle Royale. Directed by Kinji Fukasaku.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry about
so, I have read a lot of places that was kind of an inspiration for the Hunger Games.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like the Battle Royale, like Call of Duty games too.
Yeah. So I'm really, really excited for that. But again, we'll have one more episode in between that and this episode because we're going to have to finish up with next week, Evil Dead 2. So you guys come back by when we do that. But first, come on, bring your popcorn, bring your candy, bring your sodas up. Let's go. Let's get you out of here. Awesome. All right. Y'all get the fuck out of here. We're done. It's been 2 hours you've been hanging around my store. What, you don't have anything better to do? Huh? That's fine. You guys can hang out. We love you.
Wait, what's happening?
What?
Oh my god.
What?
Eugenus is here, but he's a zombie.
What? Is he a deadite?
Yeah, half his head is missing.
Holy shit, bro. Look at him. I wonder, did Art shoot him?
Wait, I think I hear him talking.
What's he saying?
Penis.
Holy shit, he's a penis monster. Run!
Ah!
Peace.